Good evening, it's Thursday today, and we are starting a new triangle. Triangle number 19. Kind of seems a lot, actually. For some reason, despite having doing 16, 17 very recently, obviously, suddenly the realisation that this is, that 17, 18, this will be number 19. And it just kind of, that's quite a lot of triangle. So here we are. We are ready. She says, going to move the light a little bit so that things at a slightly better angle. It just seems really kind of surprising that we're at 19 already, I think is the more accurate side to that. So, it just kind of, we got to 19 already. So let's... Oh, and I need Hedgie. There he is. I spent ages filling Hedgie up. Poor old Hedge. There he is. A little bit off screen, but he's good. He's got pins, look. There he is. Actually, now I've done that, I'm not convinced that was the right pair. Let's have a quick look. Oh, I see what the problem is. This has come out of here. And you should have two twists on. No, that's not right either. Let's take you out. And the dog's going nuts. Thanks for that, dog. Don't need that, Right, so you are there. You are... Right, you come out of there. You don't have two crosses at this point. Yes, you should have two crosses. You then go in there like this. Get a pin. Stab. Two crosses. We do a quick shenanigans with you so that you can do that again. Feels better, so that's a good thing. Could probably do with these being a bit longer, really. need to shush now. Yes, you do. Smell your face. Yeah, at least your face doesn't smell as bad as it was earlier. That was pretty horrible, missus. Hi, Nutcat. How you doing? Hoping you are well today. Well, I had a bit of a surprise. I was in a meeting, as you know, I'm at work, hello, meetings, and I heard a knock at the door. And I wasn't sure that I'd heard a knock at the door because I've got an earphone in and people speaking in my ear, and I look out my kind of window. I've got a mirror window thing that's on my wall, and in it I can't really see, but I can kind of get glimpses because it's weird, but I could see someone in a fluorescent jacket standing at my porch. So I went to have a look. Police, it says. It was the police. Now, not because I've done bad things. I want to stress this. I have an old house. Well, my old house. It's not an old house, but I haven't my old house. And I still own it. And over the last year, a lady who owns a property next to my old house, technically it's in another road, but technically it's next to my old house, has been giving me a bit of shit. And nothing ridiculous, nothing, criminal, nothing, but she has been causing a bit of harassment. But she does things like report that there are rats when there are no rats, right? And the council's getting a bit fed up with her. But, at the end of it, if she, maybe because she doesn't live there, she rents the property out. Maybe the guy, person, woman, people, whatever, who live there are trying to get out of paying her money. So are claiming everything left, right and centre. And she is, kind of passing it on. So much as she's annoyed me, much as I felt harassed, especially over the fence when she wanted me to pay for half a fence that I don't legally own, so I was not overly keen on that, obviously. I've kind of ignored it and put it to one side, on the grounds that there are bigger things to worry about in life. Until earlier this week, when I noticed on video, a car parks in my driveway, my old driveway obviously, parks in my driveway, and I don't know exactly what time they got there, but it was after 8:30, And around 9:30, a man steps off my front garden because of the angle of the camera. He has to be on my garden at that point. Gets in the car, and a woman in kind of a fur coat with bleach blonde hair and looking a bit like high heels and nails kind of lady, judging a bit, realise that, but you know, hello, you've just been trouncing around my garden, so I feel entitled to a bit of judging. She appears, you know, walks round to the passenger side, they get in the car and they bag her off. So it's not like the gas man reading the meter or, you know, anything kind of legitimate. These two people have been trouncing around my garden. Now, I am not there. I am not likely to go there in a hurry. And so I am a little concerned that they have been trouncing around my garden. Uninvited, obviously, because, you know. So I passed the information along with a bit of history over. I logged it as a non-crime, you know, kind of for your reference with the police, just in case something else crops up later. Because, you know, not that I'm accusing her of starting anything, and it may not be her and some dude who went trouncing around my garden, but it would seem likely they would be the most likely candidates to be the people looking around my garden. Because I got a text from it on the weekend moaning about plants in my garden, could I kill them, and all this kind of stuff. So there is a bit of you that kind of goes, you know, can you not be trouncing around my garden? And so, yeah, policeman came along and wanted to chat and hear my side of it. Which, considering a good few years ago, I was the recipient of an extreme road rage, which was completely out of order. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've all done a few dick things and, you know, needed to throw a UE, and on this particular occasion, I pulled off a road onto a roundabout, or off a roundabout onto a road. The road is not a big road, but a normalish road. And almost immediately from the roundabout, there are parked cars on the right-hand side of the road. So I have right-of-way as by British highway code. If your way is impeded, you have to give way, right? I got most of the way down it, so I would say it's 100 plus yards of parked cars, maybe a bit further, because, you know, like a lot of things, you don't really measure it because you don't think to. But it's a reasonable chunk. Well, it's the length of a car park, a very large doctor's surgery, a couple of shops, and a few houses, okay? So it's, you know, got a reasonable number of parked cars on it. Probably, you know, double digits. And she's come up the other side, on my side of the road, and got pissy because I was not going to reverse onto a roundabout onto a major road, which is also against the highway code. And she got really arsey, especially as people were coming off the roundabout now and pulling up behind me, so I couldn't go backwards. She got more and more pissy, to the point she thumped my car, she hit my car, she called me lots of names. She ranted and raved like a lunatic at a lot of people. And someone obviously said to her, because I didn't get out of the car. I stayed sat in the car, trying to be calm, because if I got out, I'd twat her one. And because, you know, just get out of my face, stop hitting my car, you know. And I called the police because she was blocking the road and refusing to move, and the highway code prevents us from going backwards, and there's now even more cars, and she's causing traffic to back up on the major road, you know. She's been a pain in the arse. And she did eventually decide to move, so the police decided not to come. But they did log a ticket and said that someone would come to speak to me about it. Well, that was about 8 years ago, and, well, no one came. And there was actual strikage to my car, and I didn't realise till afterwards I was actually pretty shaken up. Anyway, having reported this to coppers to my door today, so a bit surprising considering I only logged it yesterday, and it was a kind of for your information, it's not, you know, there's been a crime and how dare they, and, you know, I want these people arrested kind of shit. It was just in case, you know, I wanted to make note, kind of keep a record of this. And they're going to go and have words with her. So I'm not sure whether she's got previous. I'm not sure whether, all of those kind of things. But I did find it rather surprising that they were going to go and talk to her. Because clearly they agreed with me that, I said, I've had kind of some, slightly bullying text messages and, this problem with the, reporting rats to the council when there isn't any and, all of this kind of stuff. So while I don't know that that's her in the thing, because I've never met her, she would be my first chance and, I've given you 99% of the number plate, so you probably trace it and see if it is her, and I don't expect you to tell me because confidentiality and all those kind of deals. But at the same time, I wasn't really expecting you to do anything about it. And, we'll go and have words with her and, see what's going on. So, I don't know. It seems a little bit odd because, the one time I really do need them, you could have used them, they weren't there. And now it's over some tiny petty thing that I just wanted logged in case she decided to come along and set fire to my house or something. And they're all over it. And you're kind of going, okay. I mean, I did say to them, because she's been round the back, there is a power socket and a tap back there. If she's gone and, done something to cause issues, I wouldn't know because I'm not there. And, I'm just concerned that, they have been back there and there's no reason to go back there, so... And as I said to them, if she really wanted to just check on the garden, if she'd gone into her property and lifted up the fence panel, because they lift up, she wouldn't even have had to park in my driveway and go around the back of my house. I wouldn't have known. So, kind of, it's a very deliberate thing to have done to come park at my house and go round my garden. And they kind of went, well, how can you be sure they went around the garden? Well, because they come off from off camera. And the camera goes down the wall, and before the end of the wall, you are already on the garden. So they have to at least have gone round the front garden and been coming from the direction of the back garden. So, either way, they have been on my garden. And it's not like, kid chasing football, or it's two adults who have been round my garden. And so yeah, be interesting. I kind of said to them, don't tell her I've got a camera, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've shared a few drivers from the inside of my car, and they will be... Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether I'll find out what happens. We shall find out. I mean, we've all lost our temper with another driver for doing dumb shit, right? But there's keeping it to yourself and just effing and blinding in your own car. And then there's getting out and having a go. And I have been the victim of road rage twice. One I've already explained. The previous one, I don't know what the guy was on. Me and boyfriend at the moment had gone somewhere in a car to do road train spotting or some shit. It was usually train spotting, so we'll go with that. And it was quite early on a Sunday morning. The roads were empty. And we've been driving along a fairly major road. It's been empty, no one behind us, no one in front of us. We pull up to a traffic light. We've been sitting there for quite a while. And a car pulls up behind me. And I'm very aware that the lights are still red, but a man has got out the car behind me and is now storming towards my car. He whacks the window like this to the point I see it bending and I'm impressed it didn't break. Has a go about how we nearly killed his daughter. And how I should get off the road and how dare I and all those kind of moments. And you're kind of going, bitch, I've been sitting here for 10 minutes. I was nowhere near you. And if you were that, unless you ended up upside down in a ditch or something, I didn't, I don't even recall seeing your car. I don't remember seeing anybody. And I didn't say any word. He just had his rant. He smacked my car and stormed off. The lights went green. We pulled round the corner. He went the other direction. So it was a T-junction. I went right. He went left. And we pulled over and we sat there going, what the fuck was that about? But yeah, it was, that was many years ago. So yeah, I tend not to annoy other road users. I tend to be the one being annoyed, but keeping it to myself. So yeah, it was a little bit... Yeah, you see, I've never actually done that. I mean, don't get me wrong. There have been a few people which, if I found them in an alleyway, it would give me no greater pleasure. But I do remember being in the car with Trev once, and funny enough, the same roundabout that I mentioned crossing to go into the road, we were pulling out. And obviously, it's a three-prong road. The road comes that way, our road meets it, and it kind of goes off at an angle. A car pulled up here. We're pulling onto the roundabout because there's no one coming this way, and just drives straight in front of us, cutting Trev up pretty badly. Trev yells a few choice expletives out the window, as is not unreasonable in this situation. And we pull up a little while later to a big set of traffic lights. So we've gone over a traffic light, a huge roundabout, and we're now at a big traffic light, right? And we're in the left-hand lane because we're turning left. We're going somewhere with the dogs, I think. Anyway, I see the bloke getting out of his Land Rover, because it was a Land Rover, storming towards it. It's like, Trev, run the light. Why? Run the light! Unfortunately, the light went green and Trev hoofed it, because he was coming to thump. He was coming to have... And he did yell something about, it's a learner driver, you should be kinder. Well, you need to be in control of your learner driver because you just cut someone up. Can we not? You were wrong. Your learner was wrong. It's not unreasonable to shout a few words at him, Yeah. This guy was ready to beat some buckets of shit out of Trev. Run, Trev, run! So yeah. And I think that's the thing. I mean, there's always some person who goes, oh, I don't understand road rage. Then you don't drive, love. If you have not found someone utterly infuriating, you are not driving. Because if you've driven for more than about 3 months, you will have found one. If not sooner, right? I mean, sometimes it's per drive, right? You almost can't not find them. There was one where I worked off a roundabout, and there are lots of roundabouts around here, by the way. Was off a roundabout, and I'm on the roundabout because, well, I pulled out of work. There was no one to the right of me. Thing was good. Well, I don't really care if someone's having a rant at me in their car, but I definitely understand, especially if they were the one at fault, right? Don't be having a go at me when it's your own fault, love. I've had a few of those. I remember a mini roundabout. Oh, God, it would have been 91, 92. It's on a dual carriageway, so you come down a hill and you come to a little mini roundabout where it turns into a dual carriageway. There's a road off to the left. They were coming down the hill. I was coming up the dual carriageway this way. I'm in the left-hand lane because, well, I'm not turning right and I'm following the road up the hill, right? This car decides to throw a Yui, which you did, in case you didn't know, at a mini roundabout, i.e. the spots on the road, you are not allowed to throw a U-turn. In fact, technically, you are not allowed to throw a U-turn on any roundabout in the UK. However, this Land Rover was indicating left and in the left-hand lane of, to turn what looked left. So I thought not much of it. And, you know, in hindsight, maybe I should have checked that's what they meant. But if you're in the left-hand lane indicating left, it's usually a reasonable sign that that was where you were going. I'm in the, so technically like fourth lane over, because, and I pull onto the mini roundabout to go straight on, only they decide it's a U-E. And they throw this U-E and got really pissy with me when I had to do an emergency stop and hooted at them and gave me a lot of one finger and a lot of choice words. I know someone who just drives over them if there's no one about. Literally straight over the top. But, as you say, right, it's not that... I don't disagree that if people have done stupid things, a few choice phrases, maybe a bit of a finger if they're really, really stupid. But we've also usually all at some point done a bit of a dumb thing. Now, I will admit I did a really dumb one time, and I'm pretty sure the person behind me thought I was a complete spanner, because I was driving home, it was really, really dark, it's a road I know, so I definitely should have known better. I thought I'd got to the dual carriageway bit. I hadn't. So there's me honking off down the right, because the dual carriageway bit has got quite a big gap in the middle, so it almost looks like two roads. I went stonking down the left-hand lane like it was my bit of road. Of course it wasn't. Now, admittedly, there was no one coming the other way, so from that point of view, you know, it's not like it was dangerous or anything like that. But at the same time, you know, could have been better. You know, was not one of my better choices to do, you know. So I'm just sorting this out because we need to make sure we've got the right bits and right bits around the right pinholes here. There we go. And so, yeah, you know, it was late at night. I really thought that was the dual carriageway. Suddenly realised that it's not the dual carriageway and kind of sheepishly, you know, pulled in and pretended that I hadn't done that. So if they were calling me names, yeah, feck up. I deserved every inch of that. I did a stupid thing. Millie, no one got hurt, no one got interrupted, no one, you know, the only person, you know, really, that, to be honest, they probably don't even remember it. I do, because I had a really red face. But, you know, we've all met some people doing some real half-witted shit. I mean, it's like the ones where you hear them pulling onto motorway on the wrong side of the road and you're going, how do you do that? That takes a bit of skill. I mean, most motorway exits are angled, so you really have to try hard for that. So we've all, you know, I've seen a few. I did another one. There was another one, roundabout again. I went to go round a roundabout and it was wet and the lights were about to turn and they had not gone yellow yet, so I was, you know, not doing anything wrong. But as I went round, I was the last person through as it started to turn yellow. But the arse of my Land Rover, well, it was a Freelander, but the arse of my Freelander, despite four-wheel drive, slipped. And I ended up doing a 180 on the roundabout and ended up pointing back the way I came. And, you know, you could see the people coming on going, ah! But I'd obviously found something slippy because it's a good 90-degree plus bend, and I was not travelling that fast. But I had just enough momentum to slowly skid all the way around and stop facing the way I'd come and kind of gone, hi, sorry. So, you know, I'm not going to pretend that, you know, no dumb shit's ever happened to me and that I have probably, you know, someone's gone home and told tales of this stupid cow in a car who did, right? And that can be me. I have no problems to admit that, you know, I deserved those moments. And so, yeah, if they'd waved fingers at me and hooted at me and called me some names, yeah, I deserved those. So if you are the dumb person in a given situation and you've done, you know, I want to turn right from the left-hand lane across 6 lanes of traffic, you need to accept that someone's not going to be impressed with your intelligent choice at this matter. Because we've all done it. We've all pulled up somewhere and realised we needed to turn right and we're in the left-hand lane. Now, most of us turn left, turn round and go back. occasionally that could mean a really long journey, such as joining a motorway with no next stop for 30 miles. I can understand that you don't really feel overly keen. Well, and that's the other problem with the highway code. Some of the rules are mandatory. Some of them are advisory. And some say you must, some say you should. The should ones are not enforceable. And, you know, the highway code changes more often than the horse draws, which doesn't help. Because it's not like they, you know, easily advertise the changes. Well, if it's any consolation, not that I own a white van. Don't think I've ever actually technically driven one. Yes, I have, actually. I did technically drive a white van when I helped someone move. But for the most part, you know, I've driven cars and small vans and things. But I, too, also do have I drove in London. London is not for the meek. If you are timid and meek in London, you would still be there. You have to be decisive, you commit, and you follow through. Do not change your mind. Do not change your mind, right? It is, you know, and it is a bit like watching those high-speed display cars when they kind of do the leafing together thing, right? You just go for it in London. That's just the thing. Especially, I mean, slap bang in the middle of London. You do just need to have confidence. And I can do that. I am aware of the dimensions of my car, the capabilities of my car, and I am very capable of driving slap bang in the centre of London. I mean, I wouldn't now because of the congestion charges and I'm too cheap for that. But, you know, in days when there were not congestion charges, driving in the centre of London was a laugh. And to the point that even when we'd moved here, the place we worked for did a trip down to watch Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So carefully saying that, obviously, in London at the Globe Theatre or wherever it was, and we went and I drove. And me and Trev obviously went in our car and everyone else went down by coach. We got home 3 hours before the coach. We didn't even use a map. Now, I'd never been to that particular part of London, but it's really not hard to drive around London. As long as you know a few major landmarks and a few, you know, if you know that that's in this direction and that's in that direction, you're really all right. I mean, the getting there was probably the harder bit. The getting home is always the piece of cake because, well, it will say things like A40 this way. Well, I need the A40, so off I go. You know, and literally we were home in an hour and a bit, which would be about right. And it took them 3 hours. And we went, where the f*** did you go? Because, where the f*** did you go? You know, we got home and it was piece of cake. We'd been home, had a snooze and a meal by the time you made it home. Because they were all really tired and we were all perky. And it was like, yeah. Oh, we got lost. How did you get lost? Just follow the signs for A40. I mean, you know. How did you lose that? A40 is one of the most signposted things in London. Yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed that. We're going this way. Oh, I recognise this bridge. Turn. Let's do this. Turn. Where are you going? No idea, but I like this bit. Off we go. And we got home real quick. But yeah, little white van stylish. Have confidence in your driving. That is one of the most important things. You have to have confidence. Do not be indecisive. It is indecision that causes more problems than anything else. I mean, stupidity is stupidity, and wrong decisions are wrong decisions. But it's the indecisive wrong decisions that really go wrong. Because if you're going to pull out, put your foot down and welly it. Get out the way. Don't half pull out, dither, pull, break, stop in the middle, because you're going to end up with someone splatting through the side of you. You really are. So yeah, definitely white van style. Just have confidence, believe in yourself, and go for it. Definitely good mottos. I like that. So tomorrow, my new bobbins should show up, which will be nice. The additional 5 billion of these bobbins should show up tomorrow. So that'll be nice. I've had an email saying that they should arrive tomorrow, which is record time. So, you know, kind of pleased about that. And as I said the other day, it's really funny how 150 for 106 quid was £38 in ports. Part of the reason I had a Freelander was dog. Freelanders and dogs are a great combination because A, you've got the whole back can slide down and everything, but you've also got the back window that you can lower to have air coming in. So they've got, you know, you can have a proper throughput of air, so you don't necessarily, you know, suffocate on wet dog. But also, you know, on a hot day, there's a breeze and you can go down the motorway without deafening yourself. You know, you can have all of that. It's easy for them to get in and out because, well, it's flat at the back. You know, it is really quite a good dog thing. Amy, you are being annoying today. My dear darling dog, I love you with my soul. But can you not? Earlier, while on a meeting, you came to lick my face, and frankly, flesh melted on my face due to your breath, my dear lady. So don't be all kind of sassy and how great you are, because my dear darling dog, that was not a good thing. Our Fiat 500s are terrifying anyway. Tiny little piss bubbles of no. I'm not a small car fan. I know I own a Mini, but the modern Mini's the size of an old Astra, not a Mini anymore, you know? Otherwise I probably wouldn't have bought it. Although, saying that, the very first car I went to buy was a Mini when I was a kid. The first car I ever owned, I turned up with 500 quid to buy a Mini. I walked away with a Cortina, but I turned up to buy a Mini. And he went, oh, I've sold it. Oh, I've got this. Oh, cool. Drive. Sweet. 500 quid. Yay! My dad's first word. Who's that piece of shit in the driveway? That'd be mine, says me. Oh, the fuck you bought a car for? Because you won't let me drive Mother's Fiesta that's not being used. And I want to drive more, so I've bought a car. I've insured it. It's mine now. I'm an adult. Bite me. You know. So I had, you know. So yes. So I originally was going to buy a Mini. And I was kind of up for a Mini because, you know, they had plenty of poke and were fun and small. But I really like my Cortinas. I had a thing for Cortinas. And to be honest, I'd probably still own a Cortina if only it didn't douse itself in petrol to move off the cat's eye. Oh, it reminds me, I've got to reply to that actually. I like those little escort vans. They were really reliable as a whole. I mean, some of them rusted quite a lot, but yeah, they're a bit fun. I think that's something that I hate about all modern cars now, is that, you know, when I was a kid, me and my dad used to play a game waiting for things. We'd play Guess the Car by the Headlights, right? These days, virtually everything's the same fucking shit. And it's just really boring. Driving around now, you know, there's cars are, I mean, other than that bloody Cybertruck, ugly, hideous piece of shit, cars are virtually all the same. You know, oh, well, I like this. Really, how does it actually differ from everything else? Because it really kind of doesn't. Yeah. You know, it is difficult. It is hard, especially with cars, because, I mean, I gave up my Cortina because, you know, Cortinas do gallons to the mile, not miles to the gallon, pretty much. Granada's the worst, but Cortinas are not far behind them. You know, it does chew through a lot of fuel, and, you know, these days, you know, fuel has only ever got more expensive. But, you know, it would cost a lot to do a Cortina for a journey. And so, from that point of view, I didn't make a wrong decision. For fun factor and the amount I actually drive, yes, I did. Because my Cortina would have stood all this time and been fine about it. It would not have done the, oh, I'm not happy, like Paxo did. It would have probably gone, yeah, great. Well, you know, a bit like a dog going in the car. Ooh, hooray, where are we going? You know, it doesn't matter that, it hasn't moved for 6 months. And it doesn't matter that it hasn't, you know, that it was, you know, and if there was something wrong with it, pretty much a 13mm spanner and you could fix it. So, you know, whereas, you know, poor old Paxo's got friggin' electric everything. And one thing that really is freaky, and I can't overly explain it to you, but the steering shaft, so shaft from your steering wheel, is exposed in the driver's footwell, and it's where your left foot meets the clutch. So if you are having to touch the clutch and steer, it is rubbing against the toes of my feet. Now, I've not got ridiculously big feet. I mean, I'm a woman, I've got size 5.5 feet. So that's kind of average for a girl, right? It's not like I'm a bloke with size 12, 14 feet here. I have tiny little girl feet. So in bloke sizes, 5.5 is about 6.5, right? So from a bloke's point of view, I've got small feet, right? So it just seems really, really weird that it's exposed, that there's no plastic protection so that you don't feel your feet on it. But literally, it turns and your toes are touching it. And it freaks me out if I haven't driven for a while. And you do a big turn maybe with the clutch, you know, kind of, and you put the clutch down in the middle of the turn or something, and you can feel this thing moving under your foot, and you go, ew. You don't tend to notice while you're braking because it's just that little bit further over. But it's freaky. Real freaky. I remember Trev had... It wasn't an Escort. It wasn't a Mondeo. It was the souped up Escort that wasn't an M. It wasn't like an RX, but it was... He had a souped up Escort. I can't remember what it was called. Had a name. Can't remember what it is. It's fucking years ago now, after all. He put it in the garage because the air vents weren't working. I would say aircon, but it wasn't true aircon, right? And we had to do a run, funnily up here, from London. And it was kind of cold. We were doing it at 4 a.m. in the morning. Kind of needed the warm. Anyway, when we got here, everything was shut. We waited around for ages. People finally showed up. When we got in, turned out, oh, our drive's broken. Didn't you bring yours? Well, no, because you didn't mention it. So we had to drive all the way back down to London to go and get a tape drive to bring it back again. By the time we got back, bear in mind we'd been told no one was around to help us with this. Everybody else was in the office eating pizza. Didn't think to save any for us. Bear in mind we'd done, you know, ooh, fancy. That's okay. You're allowed to do that. Say hi to Mark. But on the way back down to London, we were kind of freezing our bits off. It really was proper cold. So Trevor was filling up the fuel, and I kind of in desperation was upside down in the passenger seat having a look at the air vents. I fixed them. You have no idea the glory that you can feel at like 5 o'clock in the morning when the heaters in the car finally produce hot air. Oh, it was so glorious. And it really wasn't hard to fix either. Something had come off something and I plugged it in and attached a cable and it all magically worked, right? But it'd been in the shop for a couple of days and they hadn't worked out what was wrong with it, but given it back to him because we needed to do the trip. And we knew we were going to freeze our bits off. But, yeah, I fixed it. I even remember exactly where we were, which petrol station we were at when I fixed that. It was such a momentous moment. Right, so I have done that bit. What am I doing this for? I need to put them in sticks. Stop being such a spanner and put them in sticks. Right. You're a bit long. Let's sort you out. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, it is 14. For some reason I had in my mind that this was supposed to be 15. This is 14. Let me sort this bobbin out. Lovely. Cosworth. That's the word I was after. Trebs Cosworth. I knew it would come to me. It's been a while, obviously. Yeah, he had a Cosworth. That's not why I went out with him. But because I liked my Cortinas. Yeah, they were. They were a cool thing. The kind of escorts with extra pizzazz, really. Mind you say that my mother's Fiesta was a bit like that. My mother had a Fiesta Bravo. And for those who are not in the know, Fiesta Bravos were basically the XR2 pre-runner. I.e. it was an XR2, they just hadn't called it that yet. Now, mostly they came in minging colours, as was the thing in the 70s and 80s. You had pretty minging colour codes. I seem to remember this one was blue and silver. But it didn't half have some poke. And I offended a few drivers by beating them in a crappy Fiesta. Especially that Porsche. Yeah, you were pretty miffed when you didn't get away. Mind you, Cortinas could pull a show if they wanted, you know. I remember outside Slough, there's a dual carriageway going up towards the A40, and there's a traffic light, as there often is, and I'm pulled up. Next to me pulls up some guy in his boy racer shit, and there's this little girl in a Ford Cortina, which frankly has the aerodynamics of a brick. So when I ripped him off at the lights, and he was trying, and left him standing, he got really upset. He kind of had to go home to mummy and cry because, well, this girl beat him. No, seriously, I almost could see the tears. He was proper miffed. He went every shade of colour under the sun, and he was really upset. I mean, don't get me wrong, I tried too. And I only had a 1.6. It's not even like I had my 2.3, the first one I had. If I'd had my 2.3, I'd have been in a different county by the time he crossed that line. But he was really revving it and giving it some, and there was squealing of tyres, and, well, I didn't squeal my tyres, which is why I left quicker, because I wasn't busy going round and round on the spot. That was on not the one that was an automatic, clearly, because automatics don't do that. You can't rip people off at lights in an automatic. Not easily. Well, you can in more modern ones, but not back then you didn't. Especially not in Cortinas. God, no. Let's grab you three, because, well, you're the three that I will need. Put you over here. Cross all of you, because that's a thing. I think I miss the fact that back in the days where people like you and me on a Saturday morning could go out. Really? Mind you, Clio's are more recent, but not necessarily like super recent, if you know what I mean. Some automatics are better than others. I mean, for example, I had, as a courtesy car, a mini automatic, and I really was not overly pressed at the idea of having a mini automatic. I have a slight aversion to automatics. I'm not an automatic fan. I'm not against automatics as a principle, but I'd rather not have one myself, you know? And it was one of those kind of moments where, you know, I quite liked it because it had a bit of fun to it, but it did have a nasty habit. So that little spot mini roundabout that I mentioned, it loved to change gears while you were turning violent turns on spot roundabouts. And that used to annoy me because, well, yeah, but you don't need to change it. You change before the roundabout, and if I'd had any say in the matter, we would now not be waiting for you to change gear while I sit on the spot in the roundabout, right? So I didn't overly like that about it. I had I hired, turned out to be a Peugeot automatic. I had to hire an automatic because I fucked my knee. And it was clutch foot, so needed an automatic. And I did that, and I didn't hate that as much, mainly because I was just driving down the A40 to London. And it was only kind of drive there, drive back, no more. So it wasn't too bad. I didn't have to like it. It just had to get me there and back. The thing I hate most about automatics is that in a manual car, you take your foot off the brake, and unless you're on a hill, nothing happens. So you can take your foot off the brake and then wait and then put your foot on the accelerator. Now, sometimes this is a split second, not a lot of difference, but you decide when that car starts moving. Of course, in an automatic, you take your foot off the brake, the bastard thing's moving. Yeah, I nearly went up the arse of someone because there was me in a queue of traffic, needed to give my foot a bit of a stretch because, you know, I am in pain at this point after all. Wanted to wiggle my driver's foot, so I took the foot off the brake to give it a quick wiggle because I think my bum was going numb or something, and nearly went up the arse of the car in front. I went, fuck, I forgot they did that. I think it's weird in this country that if you pass your test in a manual, you're allowed to drive an automatic without any lessons. I think, because I know the first time I ever drove an automatic, which happened to be my Cortina in the snow. For those who are not aware, rear-wheel drive cars, automatic and snow is an interesting combination, especially for those of us who have never driven an automatic before and had never driven in snow before. Now, I'm not a stupid girl. The snow was not really the problem. It was the automatic because, well, frankly, I kept stomping on the brake because, of course, in a manual car, you have an accelerator, a brake, and a clutch, and they're all similar in sizes. In an automatic, you have an accelerator and a brake. And, well, frankly, it's where you're... Now, in an automatic, you don't use your right leg in our country. Or you can, because you can double drive, but in preference, you're expected to use just your right foot, which is great. But if you're expecting a clutch and you go to stamp on the clutch, which turns out to be the brake, in an automatic car in the snow, which is rear-wheel drive, this does tend to create an interesting effect, as I found out. And so I nearly wiped out one of those little mini roundabout lamppost things, you know, the one with the posts like this, with, you know, a kind of clear way between 8 and 4 or something written on it, i.e. a lamppost of not a lot. And I did nearly kind of skid across the high street from my dad's house because, well, it was really icy and I stomped on the brake rather than gently because I was trying to put the clutch down. But those were the only 2 mistakes I made. Since then, I can drive anything in snow, no matter how deep the snow is. As long as that thing can move, I can move it. And I don't even notice. I went to karate once and the lesson ended and we were going to spend half an hour or so just running through something else. Turned out to be a bit longer, but time got away with us. When class had finished, clear. When we left, 6 inches of snow. I got in my car, checked that my friend's car started, thought that was the only important thing to worry about, and drove off, because I just drove off. I drove down dual carriageway after dual carriageway in kind of the Starfield simulation from Windows, with all of the little bits kind of flashing at you as snowflakes were flying through. Drove home, stopped at work, checked that the security guards who were on call, were on site, were okay, that they didn't need anything. One guy was trapped there, but they had a bed for him to sleep in, so that was okay. Did offer to drive him home. I left and then got a phone call. My friend just left the car park. I'd travelled like 12 miles and stopped and I'm like, what do you mean you just got out of the car park? Well, I couldn't get up the slope. I didn't even notice there was a slope on the car park. And it's like, how did you get home then? Because your house is up a hill and that would be worse, surely. Because at least the car park was a bit gravelly. I mean, it wasn't gravel, but it was that real rough, kind of unsquashed tarmac. So it's got like lots of sharp edges sticking out of it. How do I know that? Because at one point they forgot to turn up with the key and we had to do karate out in the car park till they got there. And me was that hard going on the feet. So I'm very well of how sharp and crunchy the car park is, because my feet still remember that, because we do karate barefoot usually. And being me, I went barefoot. I regretted my choices. I have tough feet, it's fine. But at the same time, it was still not pleasant. So yeah, the car park literally only held like 12 cars. It was tiny. It's not like it's not like it had a runway or anything. They couldn't get out. And I was like, what do you mean you couldn't get out? I didn't even notice there was a slope. Dude, should have said, why didn't you ring me earlier? I'd have come back and got you. Because it was like, where are you? Home. Why? Oh, really? Yeah, I've been home for a while. Why? I've only just got out of the car park. What? So yeah, that was oh, the memories. I like snow. I actually really like driving in snow. When we did our black belts, it was snowy as God knows what, and a friend of mine who'd driven themselves up for the training asked if they could get a lift because they'd nearly written their car off on the way on the way there. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll pick you up out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I can do that. Those were the days. I need you to bugger off a bit more because I keep trying to use you. But to be fair, Naughty Cat, one of the things I think that's quite sad is if you think when we were kids, you were probably taught to sew on a button. You probably made a couple of stupid things at school, whether it was a mouse or so you can do basic sewing. You can, most of us at some point fidgeted with our car and did some bits to it. Kids these days just don't. They don't get taught to sew. They almost can't work on a car because you need one of those magic kind of plug-in jobs to even remotely consider looking at it. And it just feels like that despite the modern age and all of the improvements, we're not necessarily better off in that respect. There are a lot of manual things that people did so that, oh, my car's running a bit rough, I'll have a look at the weekend kind of thing. And, you tweak the carburetor a bit and, you kind of went, yeah, I'm cool with that now. I like that. It's happy. It's running a bit better. And you did it all by kind of judgment and ear. You didn't have stupid little devices that said, oh, it's a bit rich. You either liked it or you didn't, right? And if it was, you kind of tuned it down till it struggled and then tweaked it back up a bit, right? I kind of miss that. I miss that side of it. I miss the ability to try. I mean, you don't even see kids working on their bikes anymore. Oh look, snow. Snow for the nearby hill predicted. Yeah, whatever. Between 6 tomorrow. 6 p.m. tomorrow and 4 p.m. Saturday. Whatever. Saturday, dude. That's miles away. Hi, Mark. Take care, Naughty Kelp. See you soon. Maybe tomorrow. Didn't add one, did I? Douche. That's better. That wasn't right then. So let's do a bit of a tidy up here, because you must be about 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But still, so you two of you need to go in here. 1, 2. I think it's only 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh look, this big kind of globule of stuff on the bottom of that one. How have I done this much work with it and only just noticed? Don't know if you can see this big globule of stuff there. I only just spotted that. Let's put you over there. I am super hungry today. The reason for this was that I ended up working late, and in fact I only actually stopped working about 10 minutes before I started the stream, so I haven't had any food, so I won't be doing too long today, for I need food. Trying to decide, do I call it a halt now? Get some food. Because I've got early start tomorrow. Also think I have a 1-to-1 tomorrow. That should be fun. Not. I think I should. I know it's a pitiful effort, really. But, the next section takes a good while. So yes, I think I shall sadly disappoint you all. It's not been a very long stream, she says, checking how long. It's only 90 minutes, so I do apologise. I feel you deserve better than that. But I also know that I am utterly hungry. Because I had a really small lunch and no breakfast, so I haven't eaten really today. So if I quit now and have a good night's sleep and everything, we should be in for okay tomorrow. We will do... I will have takeout tomorrow, so I will need to order that. But, you know, we'll be starting... It is the kind of useful thing to do. I mean, it's either that or I eat dog food. Because, you know, that could be a thing. But I'm not eating those liver treats. I know that they're right next to me, but I'm not eating those ever again. I'm not sure Elon Musk's bank account would make me eat another one of those. Although, if it was his entire net worth, I'd be able to afford a decent amount of something to wash it down with that would take away the flavour. So, maybe. I've eaten some gross things in my time. Some of them have even been mouldy and off. They were better than those liver treats. Not that I'm volunteering, but I would rather lick one of Rory's turds than eat another one of those liver treats. I mean, I don't really wanna, but if I had to make a choice, the turd would win. Because at least it's supposed to taste like shit. I've never eaten anything so vile, and more to the point, that lingered either. It lingers. You eat it. I mean, it's the size of like half a centimetre cube. It's tiny. And yet it is packed with an extreme amount of flavour. And it is supposed to be freeze-dried beef liver. No, it's not. I don't care what the packet says. No, it's not. That is not made of liver. That is not made of beef liver. I mean, I've eaten liver. I've eaten plenty of liver. I've cooked, and I won't say I've eaten it raw, but this was something else. This was not recommended. Absolutely not. And as I said, I've eaten many things. I'm not going to pretend that they were good for me. I'm not going to pretend that it was a wise choice. These were a new level. These truly were. I mean, I've never had something linger for like over 24 hours in your mouth as a flavour, despite what you've eaten and put down on top of it. Still lingers. Just no. So I'm not eating those, even though they're to hand. I'm more likely to eat the tin of deodorant in front of me. I've got a little tub of deodorant stuff. Little tiny tub. I'd rather eat that than that. Oh, no. I mean, you know when you've swallowed a pill and it was designed to have a coating and the coating fails and the inside is utterly hideous. They still taste better than these liver treats. And I've had plenty of pills do that and made you all but gag for the privilege. These liver treats, worse. Far worse. It's like eating... Those pills become like eating chocolate. This was... Oh, I can't explain it. Really can't. Anyway, I'm disappointed with myself for giving up already. But at the same time, we've done something. We've done a bit. We've not given up. We did a stream. We did the right thing. But I am hungrier than I thought, and so I'm going to do that. And then 2 o'clock tomorrow, so that's in 18 hours. Well, just under 18 hours. We will be back to try and stonk as much the way through this as we can get away with. I will restock Hedgie a bit so that he's back to full. Probably during my 1-to-1. And hopefully I shall see you tomorrow. As I say, I apologise, but I shall see you tomorrow. Take care, people. See you soon. Bye-bye.